The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Monday edition of Running Point. Ron Potesta with you. No Anthony Hartwig today. Anthony's going to be doing some district semifinal softball play-by-play for ysnlive.com. We'll get to where he's going to be in just a moment. Welcome into a Monday. Welcome into a brand new week. And welcome in to possibly the busiest week for high school sports that we'll see this spring, as the softball tournaments are now into the district round, and the baseball tournaments are getting underway starting today. So it's going to be a pretty busy time throughout the entire Mahoning Valley, and certainly a real busy time for all of us here at ysnlive.com. Oh, by the way, 1 week from today, the Mahoning Valley Scrappers begin the season. Now, they'll begin the season 1 week from today on the road, opening up a series with the West Virginia Black Bears down in Morgantown, West Virginia. It'll be a two-gamer Monday and Tuesday, and then the Scrappers return home for a brief two-game series with State College, opening day on Wednesday. That's a 7:05 matchup with State College. Fireworks after the game. Two-game series with State College, and then Frederick comes into town for a three-game weekend series Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that's 1 week away. Yeah. Buckle your seatbelts. It's going to be a fun season. Year number one, the inaugural season of the Major League Baseball Draft League. Coming up this week with the Scrappers, on Wednesday, it'll be an evening with Coco Crisp. This Wednesday at 6 p.m. at Eastwood Field. Tickets are $25. It includes food, drink, a Q&A with the manager of the Mahoning Valley Scrappers, Coco Crisp, an autographed photo of the skipper, plus one upper box ticket voucher. For more information, you contact the Scrappers at 330-505-0000 or go online, mvscrappers.com. Again, the number, 330-505-0000, or you can go online, mvscrappers.com. All right, we will have Jordan Taylor, the general manager of the Scrappers, coming on the program at 2 o'clock today. We'll talk about the event with Coco coming up later this week. We will also talk about next Wednesday, as the home opener is about 9 days away. It's almost here, kids. Single game tickets are on sale. The roster is feverishly getting together some names and whatnot, and we should be able to have some kids in this area by the weekend. So hopefully we will have all kinds of fun leading up to opening day 1 week from today. As I made mention, lots of baseball and lots of softball to be played this week. The baseball tournaments get underway starting today. Division 2 and Division 3 baseball games get underway today. Meanwhile, in softball, it'll be the D1 and D4 district semifinals that get underway today. Now, I saw a sneak peek of the weather forecast, courtesy of our brothers and sisters over at TV21, and they're saying we get a pretty good shot at an all crystal clear week, which that would be fantastic. It would certainly be a gigantic step in the right direction in terms of not getting any delays for the softball and baseball tournaments. All right, here we go. The baseball tournaments open up today. The Division II games look like this. Cheney is at Marlington. Lakeview is at Hubbard. Struthers at Louisville. East will travel to Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. That's up in Chardon. And Girard is at Poland. All of those games will begin at 5 o'clock. All of those games beginning at 5 o'clock. In Division III, Waterloo will be at Newton Falls. United visits Camel. Crestwood is at Ursuline. That game will be played at Bobseen Park. East Palestine is at Cardinal Mooney. That game is at Bobseen Park. And Liberty will travel to Middlefield Cardinal. All of those games will begin at 5 o'clock. Division II and Division III sectional first-round games. D1 and D4 will be tomorrow. The sectional first-round games for D1 and D4 will be tomorrow. For the girls, the softball district semifinals get underway in Division I as well as Division IV. Anthony Hartwig, who is normally with me on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, he is going to be at Fitch broadcasting a doubleheader as the Fitch Falcons will be taking on Chardon from Austintown. That game will start at 4 o'clock, and then immediately after, Boardman will be playing North Canton Hoover. That game getting underway approximately at 5:30. Approximately 5:30, give or take a few minutes. The first game is going to be however quick that game ends. If it's a mercy rule game, well, then 5:30 will be your start. If it's a lengthy game, then obviously the 5:30 start will get moved back a little bit. Division IV at Candlelight Knolls coming up this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Matthews will be taking on Badger in Game 1 of the district semifinals. In the nightcap, it'll be Brookfield against Lisbon. The Brookfield-Lisbon game will be played at 5 o'clock. All right, so again, Game 1, Matthews taking on Badger. That'll start at 2. Brookfield taking on Lisbon. That game will start at 5. Both of those games will be held at Candlelight Knolls up in Warren. That is the Division IV district semifinals. In the other Division IV district semifinal at Jackson Milton, McDonald will be taking on Bristol. That game will get underway at 4 o'clock, and then immediately afterwards, Western Reserve will be playing East Canton. And again, if it's a fast-moving first game, then the second game will probably start at 5:30. If it is a slow-moving first game, then that 5:30 start is going to probably be closer to 5:45 or somewhere thereabouts. But McDonald plays Bristol on the opening game at 4 o'clock at Jackson Milton in the D4 district semifinals. The nightcap has Brookfield taking on Lisbon, and again, that game will get underway. I'm sorry, the nightcap is Western Reserve and East Canton. My apologies. The nightcap, Western Reserve at East Canton, and that game scheduled to start at 5:30. It could start a little before. It could start right at 5:30. It could start a little after 5:30. It just depends on how fast the first game moves along. We do have boys lacrosse Division II tournaments. Canfield is at Chagrin Falls. That game will get underway at 7 o'clock. And girls lacrosse action in D1, Boardman will visit Painesville Riverside, and that game will get underway at 7 o'clock. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business with you right up until 3 o'clock, at which time we have Power Hour. DJ and the fellas will keep you entertained in the 3 o'clock hour, and that will be coming up right after the Monday edition of Running Point. Again, Dana Balish will be coming up at 1 o'clock. We'll get his weekly get-together with 21 Sports Director Dana Balish. Coming up at 2, we will hear from the Mahoning Valley Scrappers GM Jordan Taylor, as we are exactly 1 week away from the start of the inaugural 2021 Major League Baseball Draft League. The home opener coming up 1 week from Wednesday. 1 week from Wednesday, State College comes to town. It'll be a 7:05 game. Fireworks after the game. And then, of course, every Friday we will have fireworks at the ball yard when the Scrappers are home. I can tell you the home weekends, or at least partial weekends or full weekends, next weekend, Frederick comes to town for a 3-game series. June the 5th and 6th, State College will be coming into town. It's weird that the team will still be in Frederick on Friday, June the 4th. The Scrappers will be on a 5-game road trip. Starting Memorial Day, the Scrappers will be back in Morgantown as they take on West Virginia in a 2-game series, May 31st and June the 1st. And then on Wednesday, June 2nd through Friday, June the 4th, the Scrappers will be in Maryland taking on the Frederick Keys. Then on Saturday, a brief 2-game series on Saturday with the Scrappers taking on State College, the 5th and the 6th. The Monday will be an off day. As a matter of fact, practically every Monday from June 7th through the rest of the season is going to be an off day. The only time from June 7th on that there will be baseball played on a Monday will be July the 5th, when the Scrappers play West Virginia at Eastwood Field. That'll be on Monday, July the 5th. But after Memorial Day, there is no Monday baseball with the Scrappers, with the exception of July the 5th, when West Virginia comes to town. The weekend of June the 18th, West Virginia is in town. They're also in town the weekend of June the 25th. And then you got to go all the way to late July. Late July, West Virginia will be in town for a 3-game series. And then West Virginia closes out the season on Friday, August the 13th. So there are fireworks Fridays, May the 28th, June the 18th, June the 25th, July the 30th, and August the 13th. Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule. Scrappers are only going to be home, 13 days in July. Prior to the All-Star break, you'll get a 2-game series with West Virginia, including the game on the 4th of July. And yes, folks, there will be fireworks after the July 4th contest. I mean, come on. It's July 4th, for God's sake. Hopefully we'll have a large sellout crowd and then some to watch what promises to be a damn good fireworks display. Hopefully we don't get a fireworks display during the game. I'm just saying. We just save the fireworks until after the game. The ones that go in the air and everyone goes, ooh, ah, instead of the fireworks on the field. You don't need the fireworks on the field. Let's see. July the 6th through the 8th, State College is in town. July 20th through the 22nd, State College is back. July 27th through the 29th, Williamsport is in town. And then July 30th and 31st, West Virginia is in town. Now, keep in mind, July the 9th through the 14th is the 6 days off. And that is mainly because you're getting ready for the All-Star festivities. And the All-Star festivities include the Major League Baseball draft, which will take place in Colorado as part of the All-Star festivities. Keep in mind, it was supposed to be in Atlanta, then Major League Baseball took the All-Star game away from Atlanta. Don't want to get into that. But the All-Star game is now in Colorado, and the draft is in Colorado. And then circle that because that's where things could get pretty interesting, depending on how they go about this in terms of, do you allow kids that have been drafted and sign a contract? Do you allow them to stay in this league? Or do the teams that sign these kids automatically get these kids out of this league and put them in minor league baseball? That's something that I think Major League Baseball is going to have to address. And hopefully Jordan Taylor might have some answers on that when we get him on the show at 2 o'clock. Again, this is the inaugural season, and clearly there will be some interesting decisions that Major League Baseball will possibly have to make on the fly. Again, it's the inaugural campaign. We'll be very curious to see what kind of decisions Major League Baseball decides to make during the course of this season. The interesting part of all of this is assembling a roster now. Talked a little bit about this the last time we had Jordan on, and it bears repeating. You're going to be getting kids that are invited to join this league, and the invitations come out from Prep Baseball Report. PBR is going to be the main focal point of all of this. They're in charge of inviting these kids to this league. And again, this league, those that are eligible are all kids that are eligible for the upcoming 2021 Major League Baseball draft. Now, who's eligible? All right, high school seniors are eligible. All junior college players are eligible. And if you've gone to college, whether it be D3, D2, or D1, you would have had to stay in college for 3 years. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be a junior. You could be a redshirt sophomore. But you would have had to have been in college for 3 years academically to be eligible for the Major League Baseball draft. So keep this in mind. The season starts 1 week from today. All right. Let's take a look at the high school ranks. Now, I don't know if we're going to have anybody from our area or Ohio, for that matter, any of the high school seniors, but it bears repeating. This week is the sectional tournaments. Next week is going to be the district tournaments. Now, follow me on this. Next week, we're opening up the season on a Monday. If somebody from high school is invited to do this, they're not allowed to play in this. Sorry about that. They're not allowed to play in this league until their high school season and their college season, or college, I should say, is over. So let's say that one of the kids from Ohio, a high school kid from Ohio, doesn't matter where, but a high school kid from Ohio has been invited to participate in this league. And it's geographical, so the kid from Ohio will undoubtedly be put on the Mahoning Valley Scrappers because, well, we're the only team in Ohio. So let's just assume for a second that there is a kid playing high school baseball that is going to come to this league. And it has been invited to this league. Well, we're not going to see this kid until his high school season is over. So if this particular player is playing in, let's say, the regional tournament, well, the regional tournament gets underway let's see, the regional tournament would get underway the week of June the 7th. June the 7th. No, actually, the districts get underway here. Now, the regionals would get underway the week of the 31st, Memorial Day week. Memorial Day the 31st, and all the way through June the 5th would be the regionals. If he gets bounced in the regionals, then you would probably expect this person to be ready to go in the league by the weekend of June the 5th. June 4th, June 5th, somewhere around there. Let's say that's, a player from Ohio, a high school player from Ohio is invited to play in this league, but this player's team, the high school team, is now going to be playing at Akron Rubber Duck Stadium as one of the 4 best teams in their division, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now we're looking at the weekend of June the 10th, 11th, and 12th, as the state semifinals would be played on June the 10th and June the 11th, and the state championship game would be played on June the 12th. Right now, you're talking about missing, let's see, the season starts on May the 24th, 3, 6, 8, 13, 14, at least 17 games, and possibly 19. You'd be missing 19 games. If the team went to the state championship game, you'd be missing the first 19 games of the season. And that's for high school. That's for high school. The college tournaments, league tournaments for college, get underway next week. They get underway next week. So let's fast forward. Let's say that, one of our kids or somebody from the state of Ohio gets invited to play from college baseball, gets invited to play for the draft league. Now, if he's a hometown kid or close to being a hometown kid, then obviously he's going to be playing for the Scrappers. Again, it's a geographical league. But let's say that the team decides that, the team he's playing for, the college he's playing for, is going to make a deep run. Let's say they win their league and they go into the NCAA tournament. Well, the league tournaments get underway next weekend because the baseball season ends this weekend. College baseball regular season ends this weekend. Next weekend are all of the conference tournaments. That would be the weekend of the 27th, 28th, and 29th. That would be opening weekend with the Mahoning Valley Scrappers. Let's say that this team or the player on this team wins their conference tournaments and they go to the field of 64. Okay. You're looking at this player missing the first 2 weeks of the draft league. And if this team were to get into the super regionals, let's say they win their conference tournament, they get the automatic berth, they win the first round, they in their region, they win their region, and they're matched up in the super regionals, which is best of 3. We've talked about this. The conference tournaments are next weekend. Whoever comes out of each conference gets an automatic berth. There are 16 regions, 16 regional sites, and each regional site will have 4 teams, double elimination, 4-team tournament, much like the Horizon League, not this weekend, but next weekend down in Dayton. That's how it's going to be played. Whoever comes out of the Horizon League is going to have the exact same 4-team double elimination tournament, only it's going to be slightly better because you're going to be looking at a much higher payoff with the winner of that particular regional tournament going into the super regionals, where you would pare it from 16 down to 8, and then those 8 teams would go into the College World Series. But let's say that the team or the player whose college baseball team is now in the super regionals. Now we're talking about the first 3 weeks of the season being absent. And like I said, it's along with a state championship for high school, it's the same thing if you go to a super regional for a player. You would be missing at least the first 18, possibly 19 games of the season. So it's a very tight rope that Major League Baseball is going to be walking. And you might see an awful lot of kids being brought in that are going to probably be exiting early on, because there's a pretty good chance that a good amount of the players that we're hoping to see for the entire season, there's a pretty good chance that a good amount of those players aren't going to be starting the season right from the get-go. There's a pretty good chance that those high school, junior college, and college-eligible kids that get invited to this league might not be starting immediately because they're still playing with their team, with their high school team or their junior college or their college team. There's a pretty good chance that you could be seeing, at least at the beginning of the year, some kids that might not have been invited under normal circumstances, but they're getting invited because, well, a lot of the kids that were anticipating being a part of this league are still going to be playing with the team that they are hooked up with, whether it's high school, junior college, or college. So it's going to be interesting to see how this transpires and how this plays out during the course of the early part of the 2021 campaign. Again, if we're talking about getting some kids from college, and let's say, you know, their college team that the young man is playing for happens to go to the College World Series. Wow, now you're talking about the College World Series is going to be played the week of June the 14th all the way to the 20th. Or somewhere thereabouts. That's, yeah. And now you're talking about missing some significant time. But, again, you get an opportunity to play for a College World Series. I mean, yeah, the league is not going to be taking anybody away from any of their teams. They're essentially, the message here is the league is going to be here when your high school, junior college, or college responsibilities with your baseball team is finished. So I'll be very curious. The Horizon League tournament gets underway next week. YSU is going to be part of the Horizon League tournament. Now, there's a better than average chance Youngstown State is going to be the 3 seed. We'll get into this right now. Penguins are on a 4-game winning streak. They swept Ballerman over the weekend. Now, Ballerman is not a member of the Horizon League, so they didn't play any Horizon League games. UIC swept Purdue Fort Wayne, so UIC is in really good shape to finish in second place. They're 24-11. Penguins are 21-15. The Penguins are 3.5 games out of first place, 4 out in the loss column. It would take a tremendous luck for the Penguins to pass UIC at this point. How would this happen? The only way it would happen is Northern Kentucky would have to sweep UIC, and YSU would have to sweep Milwaukee. Now, Milwaukee took 3 out of 4 from Northern Kentucky, and Milwaukee has a 3.5 game lead on Northern Kentucky. 3.5 game lead going into the weekend. And again, the only way Northern Kentucky gets into this tournament is if they sweep UIC and YSU sweeps Milwaukee. It's the only way Northern Kentucky gets into the tournament. And if it happens, not only does Northern Kentucky get into the tournament, Youngstown State also happens to be the number 2 seed, and then they would be the home team in their game against UIC. It's pretty obvious. As a matter of fact, we can make it official. Youngstown State is going to play UIC in the first round of the Horizon League tournament. And there's about a 99% chance UIC is going to be the home team in the first round of the Horizon League tournament. And again, that tournament will be played next week. Penguins are going to be finishing out the regular season as they take on Milwaukee, a 4-game series with Milwaukee, beginning on Friday at Eastwood Field, 5 o'clock start. Doubleheader on Saturday, game 1 at 1 o'clock, game 2 at 4:30. And finally, the fourth and final game of the series, final game of the regular season, gets underway at 12 noon on Sunday against Milwaukee. And again, the Penguins, the only way they can get to second place is if they were to sweep Milwaukee and Northern Kentucky were to sweep UIC. So Penguins are definitely playing UIC in the first round of the Horizon League tournament. It just depends. We're still uncertain, at least a tiny bit uncertain, like a 1% uncertainty as to whether UIC is the home team or the road team. 99% chance they're going to be the home team. The only way they're the road team is if they get swept by Northern Kentucky. The Penguins sweep Milwaukee. Those games will get underway Thursday. And much like the softball tournament that was held this weekend, the losers, let's see, Wright State will play Milwaukee, barring a disaster. Wright State plays Milwaukee. UIC plays YSU. The winners will play each other on Friday. The losers will play each other that evening. The losers will play each other that evening. So if Youngstown State were to beat UIC, in all likelihood, they would play Wright State on Friday afternoon, and UIC would play Milwaukee on Thursday night. The loser of that game would be eliminated. And then the Friday schedule would be, assuming Wright State and YSU wins. Let's just throw that out there. The Friday game, first game would be Wright State plays YSU. The loser of that game would then play a couple of hours later against the lone survivor in the losers brackets, which let's say it's UIC. Let's say UIC loses to YSU in the first round, but they beat Milwaukee. So UIC would be the team that would play the loser of Wright State and Youngstown State in the second game. And then on Saturday, whoever won the Wright State-Youngstown State game would be undefeated, and they would be playing a one-loss team. And the only way that undefeated team would not go to the NCAA tournament is if they were to lose 2 games in a row. That's how the double elimination tournament starts, or that's how it's going to operate. Wright State has won the league, so that series, or I should say that tournament, is going to be played down in Dayton. It's going to be played in Dayton, and there you go. So Wright State will be the heavy favorite, no questions asked about that. They're 28-4 in the conference, 29-11 overall. They'll be the heavy favorite. Not to say that they'll win, but they will be the heavy favorite. Youngstown State, I think YSU has put themselves in a really good position, especially if they can win game 1 against UIC. I think they're in a really, really good position. Now, unfortunately, we go into the softball aspect of the tournament with the Horizon League, and the Penguins, they won their first game, and things looked to be pretty good for the YSU women. They had won their first game against the Robert Morris team, and Robert Morris, they were bounced later that night by the number 2 seed Oakland. So the teams that were left, YSU was undefeated. Number 3 UIC beat Oakland 5-1. So YSU and the 3 seed UIC were the 2 undefeated teams. Oakland had knocked off Robert Morris. So there were 3 teams left after Thursday. Undefeated YSU, undefeated UIC, and 1 loss Oakland. YSU played UIC. And unfortunately, YSU lost to UIC 5-4. And that put the Penguins into the losers bracket against number 2 Oakland. And unfortunately, Youngstown State lost to Oakland 3-0. So the YSU women's softball season ended. They were eliminated, and the host school was not going to be in the championship round. And as it turns out, on Saturday, UIC, the undefeated team, they went on to beat Oakland again 4-3. They had beaten them on Thursday. They beat them on Saturday, and UIC is headed to the NCAA tournament as UIC won the Horizon League tournament, upsetting the top seed Youngstown State Penguins, who unfortunately YSU took unfortunately it was a bad Friday. And when you have a bad day, you can get eliminated in a double elimination tournament. And that's exactly what happened to the Penguins. It doesn't mean that they had a horrible season. Far from it. They were the regular season champs. They had a hell of a year. Unfortunately, they played 2 substandard games in a row and ultimately got bounced from the tournament. But they had a great season nonetheless. And congratulations to the YSU women on a tremendous softball season. And unfortunately, it just, the ending left a lot to be desired. As the Penguins were bounced on Friday. And then they saw UIC celebrate on the Farmers National Bank Field, knocking off the 2 seed Oakland 4-3. So UIC is headed to the NCAA tournament. Good news, though. Alex DeLeon and Nikki Sabine were named to the 2021 Horizon League Softball All-Tournament team. So congratulations to those 2 ladies. As the Penguins hopefully will have a great season next year. A lot of things to look forward to with the Penguins, and hopefully the YSU women will pick up where they left off, at least in the regular season, and have a great 2022 campaign. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. We'll take a time out. It's a Monday edition of Running Point. Coming up at the top of the hour, we will hear from 21 Sports Director Dana Balish. At 2 o'clock, we will hear from Scrappers General Manager Jordan Taylor. That is all coming up on this Monday edition of Running Point. We'll take a time out, be back with more. It's Running Point on ysnlive.com. Don't you dare go away.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your wallet to check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. They got a great sales department, fantastic service department, and an unbelievable finance department because, let's be honest here for a second. 99 times out of 100, you're going to be needing a car loan. Let's be honest. We don't necessarily have money trees anywhere. At least I don't. I don't have money trees in my backyard. That's just not happening. So if I have to purchase a car, I'm going to have to go out and get a loan. The finance department is solid because who the hell wants to pay a high interest rate for a car? And when you think about it, depending on whether you're buying a used car or a new car, we're talking about anywhere from 3 to 7 years of car payments. And if you have a high interest loan, I mean, that sucks. I mean, you're going to be paying a bunch of money then. That's why the finance department at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown is on point. They're going to try to get you into a car, and more often than not, they will get you into a car with some really, really low interest rates. So you owe it to yourself and your wallet to check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown before you put pen to paper and sign the next 3 to 7 years of your financial life away with car payments. You should take a trip over to Austintown and check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. All right, here's your matchups for today. We made mention high school baseball and high school softball all playing today. Tournament action. The regular season is complete, finito, done for baseball and for softball. Now we're into the favorite part of the year, and that's the tournaments. Now, there might be a couple of regular season games, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, these are tournament games, and here are your tournament lineups. In baseball, Mondays and Wednesdays are the D2 and D3 sectional tournaments. Their games will be Monday and Wednesday. D1 and D4 will be playing their sectional first-round game on Tuesday and a sectional title game on Thursday. So it's D2 and D3 day in high school baseball. Here is your schedule for today. In Division II, we got 5 games, and they all start at 5 o'clock. Cheney will visit Marlington. Lakeview is at Hubbard. Struthers is at Louisville. East will travel to Chardon to take on Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, and Girard will visit Poland. Those are the Division II sectional first-round games. Your Division III sectional first-round games, again, all of these games will start at 5 o'clock, 5 games. Waterloo is at Newton Falls. United is at Camel. Crestwood will go to Scene Park to take on Ursuline. East Palestine will travel to Scene Park, and they'll take on Cardinal Mooney. And Liberty is at Middlefield Cardinal. All of those games will start at 5 o'clock. Again, that's D2 and D3, the sectional first-round tournaments getting underway today. Today, for the girls, softball action. Division I and Division IV will be playing the district semifinals today, and the district championship games will be played on Wednesday. D2 and D3 will have their sectional semifinal. Their district semifinals, and D2 and D3 will be tomorrow. And the district championship softball games for D2 and D3 will be played on Thursday. Now, all of this is weather permitting, and as we mentioned earlier in the hour, our brothers and sisters over at TV21 pretty much telling us we got a pretty nice forecast for the week. Got a solid forecast for the week. Now, I personally, 2 days, okay. I look at stuff from 2 days out, and then we take it from there. But they're saying the long range forecast for this week, very little chance of rain. All right, I can dig it. All right, here's your Division I district semifinals, and the reason why my partner Anthony Hartwig is not here today is because he's going to be over at Fitch broadcasting both of the Division I district semifinals. Fitch will be taking on Chardon. Oh, by the way, these games are going to be played at Austintown Fitch. Fitch will be taking on Chardon. That game gets underway at 4 o'clock. And then the nightcap, Boardman will be playing North Canton Hoover. That game is supposed to start at 5:30. Now, you're at the mercy of the first game. If the first game is a quick-moving game, you'll probably start at 5:30. If the first game is a slow game or there's extra innings involved, and then you're probably going to be starting a little after 5:30. But right now, the tentative schedule for the nightcap between Boardman and North Canton Hoover is 5:30. Those are the Division I district semifinals. Both of those games will be played at Fitch High School. Division IV at Candlelight Knolls up in Warren. Matthews will be playing Badger. That game gets underway a little over an hour from now. That's a 2 o'clock start. Matthews taking on Badger at Candlelight Knolls. At 5 o'clock, Brookfield will be playing Lisbon. Brookfield and Lisbon coming up at 5 o'clock. That's at Candlelight Knolls up at Warren. The other Division IV district semifinals will be held at Jackson Milton High School. In game number 1, McDonald will play Bristol. That's a 4 o'clock start. And the nightcap scheduled for 5:30. Again, we're at the mercy of the first game. If it's a quick-moving game, then the second game will start at 5:30. If game 1 happens to be a little slow or possibly some extra innings involved, then that 5:30 game is going to be a little after 5:30. But it's tentatively scheduled for 5:30. Western Reserve taking on East Canton. And that game will be played at 5:30. We also want to make mention that Division II boys lacrosse, Canfield is at Chagrin Falls. That game will start at 7 o'clock. And girls lacrosse, Division I, Boardman is going to play on the road at Painesville Riverside, and that game will start at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow, you have Division I and Division IV sectional tournaments. Now, Boardman and Fitch both got a bye into the sectional championship game, which will be played on Thursday. Harding is going to be hosting Painesville Harvey at 5 o'clock in the only local, area-wise local. Harding is not a member of the YSN family. Harding will be hosting Harvey, Painesville Harvey, at 5 o'clock. Division IV, these games will start at 5 o'clock. Wyndham is at Lowville, Mineral Ridge at Lisbon, Badger at Maplewood, Lordstown at McDonald, Sebring at Leetonia, Chalker visits Wellsville, and Brookfield is at Bristol. Those games will get underway at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Division II girls district softball from Hubbard High School tomorrow afternoon. Girard will play Marlington at 4 o'clock. And the nightcap scheduled to start at 5:30 will be Canfield taking on Hubbard. That's the Division II district semifinals from Hubbard tomorrow afternoon. In the Division II districts up at Jefferson, West Branch will be playing Aurora on Field 1 at 4:30, and they have another field. So the other game, Poland and Mogador Field, will be playing at the exact same time, 4:30, on a different field, but at Jefferson. West Branch will play Aurora at 4:30, and in the same complex, different field, Poland will play Mogador Field at 4:30. Division III at LeBray, South Range will play Kirtland. That is a 3:15 start tomorrow afternoon. South Range taking on Kirtland. At 5 o'clock, Champion will play Gilmore Academy. That'll be at 5 o'clock at LeBray. And finally, the Division III district tournaments, which will be played at Youngstown State over at Farmers National Bank Field. Ursuline will play Burton Berkshire at 3 o'clock. And Newton Falls will be playing Rootstown at 5 o'clock. That's your breakdown for baseball and softball on Tuesday. That's what's going on. So we got a busy week. really, really busy week with baseball and softball, and you got track and field going on this coming weekend. So it's a busy week as the spring sports are now into the tournament section of the season, which is my favorite time of the year for sure. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. Dana Balish will be checking in at the top of the hour, and we'll get his take on the busy week that will be locally with the baseball and the softball tournaments going on. And you know, the sports department will be busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. I'm just telling it like it is. 1 week from today, the Scrappers open up the 2021 Major League Baseball Draft League. They'll be on the road, a 2-gamer against West Virginia 1 week from tonight. The Scrappers will be in Morgantown taking on the West Virginia Black Bears. 1 week from Wednesday, the Scrappers will open up the home portion of the campaign as they take on the State College Spikes. That'll be a 7:05 game with fireworks after the game. Now, this coming Wednesday, we have an evening with Coco Crisp. This Wednesday at 6 p.m. up at Eastwood Field. Tickets are $25. It includes food, drink, a question and answer session with the manager of the Mahoning Valley Scrappers, that would be Coco Crisp, an autographed photo of the skipper, and each person coming to this evening with Coco Crisp on Wednesday will receive a ticket voucher good for one upper box seat. If you'd like more information, go to the Scrappers website, MV Scrappers, that's M as in Mary, V as in Victor, SCRAPPERS.com, MVScrappers.com, or you can give the Scrappers a call on their phone, 330-505-0000. That's 330-505-0000. That's coming up this Wednesday. An evening with Coco Crisp, Wednesday, May the 19th, this Wednesday at 6 p.m. at Eastwood Field. All right, we'll take a timeout. Dana Balish, TV 21 sports director, will be calling in on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, our weekly segment with Dana. Coming up after this timeout, you're listening to a Monday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
This is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of pre-owned vehicles. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your pre-owned vehicle and much more. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their pre-owned vehicle at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net. No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Years ago, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods began with 3 siblings, a hand-set sawmill, and a few local orders. And while business has certainly changed over the years, what has not are our principles of hard work, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. At Baird Brothers, we're proud to put our name on the products we create, from moldings and doors to flooring and lumber. Thank you for 60 great years. We look forward to 60 more. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point. Ron Potesta with you, taking your phone calls on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Awaiting to hear from 21 Sports Director Dana Balish. As we made mention, they're going to be super busy over there today. What with... what do we got? 5 baseball games in the area, and you have, 2, 4, 6 softball games in the area as well. That's going to be a tall order to try to get as many of those in as possible. We have put a call in to Dana, and obviously they're busy on this Monday, so hopefully we will get Dana on as promised on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. While we await 21 Sports Director Dana Balish, yesterday the Pittsburgh Penguins opened up the 2021 Stanley Cup playoffs with a loss to the New York Islanders. The Islanders beat the Penguins in overtime, and it didn't take long in overtime, just a minute and a half for the Islanders to score the winning goal, and the Islanders have taken a 1-0 series lead. Now, if you heard the show on Friday, we had the hockey guru, Tom Callahan, on, and I had said, boy, Pittsburgh, they're in good shape. They should be able to win this game, either get a sweep or a gentleman's sweep, win this thing in 5. And Tom Callahan said, I don't see it that way. I think the Penguins are in some trouble here. This could be a 6 or a 7-game series, and there's a chance that the Islanders can knock off the Penguins. This was, Tom Callahan had said this on Friday. So, obviously, the Penguins, they had a 2-1 lead into the second period, and after the second period, they were up 2-1. And then the Islanders scored 2 straight goals, the second one with 4:10 left in regulation, giving them a 3-2 lead. Penguins scored with 3:39 left in regulation to tie the ball game up at 3. And then the Islanders scored a minute and a half into overtime to take a victory off of the Penguins and take home ice advantage. So this is an Islanders team that through the years, the Islanders have given the Penguins some fits when they play each other in the playoffs. And again, Barry Trotz is the head coach of the New York Islanders. If I peel the curtain back a little bit, Tom Callahan used to be the play-by-play voice, the radio voice of the Nashville Predators. Barry Trotz was the head coach when Tom was doing the games for the Nashville Predators. So he knows an awful lot about Coach Trotz, and he's known for being a pretty good tactician, a guy that knows the X's and O's of the game of hockey. And he's a defensive-oriented coach, and my goodness, they did a really, really good job slowing down the Penguins. And Game 2 will be played on Tuesday, and boy, the Penguins had better get it together. They have lost home ice advantage, and Game 2 that could be disaster for the Penguins if they were to lose Game 2. So they need to get a split before the two games 3 and 4 go back to the island, where the Islanders they now have home ice advantage. So be interesting to see what happens. The Cavaliers' season came to a close yesterday. They were defeated by Brooklyn, 123-109. In the game, Colin Sexton was ejected from the game. He set a pick, and apparently his elbow got a little too high, caught Kevin Durant in the head. I don't know how the hell a guy's, 6'1", 6'2"? How the hell is he setting a pick for a guy that's about 6'10" or 6'11"? I mean, your elbows have got to be way the hell up here in order to have, I'm 6'1", 6'2". And, your elbows would have to be well over your head in order to clobber a Kevin Durant who's 6'10", 6'11", somewhere in that vicinity. I don't even know how to describe that. But Sexton was ejected from the game. And it's kind of a perfect ending to a season in which it's just been weird. It was a weird season. I made mention of this last week. A lot of folks are going to sit back and say, man, what a disappointing year. They took a step backwards. I can't buy that. I can't buy it for the simple reason that there were so many injuries on this team. I mean, this team barely had a good amount of games with the core kids together. Allen in the center position, Larry Nance, Isaac Okoro, and the backcourt of Sexton and Garland. They didn't have a lot of time together. They didn't have any time. I think 180 minutes, and that was it. During the course of a 72-game season, like 180 minutes where they were on the floor at the same time? That's absurd. I mean, that is crazy. Now, in fairness, Allen was traded mid-season acquisition, so it really wasn't 72 games. But, he wasn't acquired, 3/4 of the way through the season. He was acquired, pretty close to the halfway point of the campaign. You'd figure, okay, if it's 72-game season, if he's acquired in game 36, you're still looking at 36 games where the core unit And again, the core unit right now is Allen, Nance, Okoro, Sexton, and Garland. You would think that these 5 would have been on the floor for an awful lot of time. 180 minutes, give or take a couple of minutes. That's absurd. That's not a lot of time. There was just way, way, way too many injuries during the course of the year. And obviously, you signed Kevin Love to a 4-year deal, and for a second straight year, Kevin Love is essentially MIA more often than not. And you can't trade him because who the hell's going to want a $30 million contract? And you really can't sit back and say, yeah, we're not going to play you next year because you're wasting the money at that point. And there were a couple of stupid things that the Cavs did, the biggest of which is you panicked and traded away Kevin Porter Jr. instead of trying a little bit harder to get through to this guy. But you traded him to Houston, didn't get a whole lot in return, and I don't know if Kevin Porter Jr. is going to turn his life around, but, he averaged, 15, 16 points a game for Houston, so he's on his way to at least doing something somewhat decent. So that was something that the Cavaliers, they're guilty of not giving this kid an extra opportunity. They freaked out when he freaked out about getting his locker taken away because he was on the injured list. And then the Andre Drummond thing was just a mystery to me. I just don't understand, why you would sit back and go, we're refusing to play him. What the hell? Why would you do that? That was a head scratcher. Did he want out? Yes. Well, you don't cut your nose off to spite your face. You let the guy play. And in the process, maybe the team gets a little bit better than 22-50, and more importantly, maybe you get a little bit more out of Andre Drummond in terms of what you get back. So there were a couple of things the Cavaliers did, some head-scratching things, but ultimately I can't completely pile on this team because, the season was injury-riddled. Now, for me personally, I don't see long-term Sexton and Garland being a starting backcourt because they're both point guards, and you're asking one of those kids to play the 2, and frankly, neither one of them can play the 2 worth a hill of beans. So one of these kids has to start, and the other one has to come off the bench. In a perfect world, if you trade one of them, and you get some more draft capital, that's not out of the realm of possibility. Obviously, the team needs backcourt help because they don't have a 2-guard, a healthy 2-guard. Dylan Windler would be an interesting 2-guard, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. He's been very injury-plagued, and frankly, I don't even know if he's a starter in the NBA or not. So it's a lot of questions that need to be answered this offseason, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But certainly a team that had some early in the campaign, they showed that they were capable of playing some decent basketball, and then the injuries happened, and then Drummond wanted out, and the whole thing with Kevin Porter Jr., which didn't make any sense, and a lot of weird stuff that went on with the Cavaliers, and unfortunately a lot of injuries along the way as well. Do I fire the GM? Do I fire the coach? Hell no. I don't think that they did enough to warrant being fired. I think if you're going to choose one, it would be Kobe Altman. For his mishandling of Andre Drummond and the mishandling of Kevin Porter Jr., but I don't think either one of them should lose their job over this. I think that a case could be made that if the Cavaliers had been healthy, they would have been a much better basketball team. But they weren't, so they're not. And it is what it is. Hopefully they get a high draft pick and the rebuild continues, and hopefully the team gets a whole lot healthier. a whole lot healthier. Over the weekend, the Pirates, boy, oh boy, they damn near swept the San Francisco Giants. They had won the first two games of the weekend series with the Giants, and it came within a game away from sweeping the Giants for the first time in Pittsburgh since 1970. You got to go back the infancy of Three Rivers. Well, and it also depends, because if the older fans will know this, the first half of the season, Pirates played their home games at Old Forbes Field. And then Forbes Field was finished in July, and then after the All-Star break, Three Rivers was ready to go. And that's when the Pirates moved from the aging Forbes Field up in the north Oakland part of Pittsburgh, over where Pitt is. Matter of fact, I believe they still have remnants of the left field wall where Mazeroski hit the home run in the 1960 Game 7 of the 1960 World Series. They hit the home run over the left field fence. Yogi Berra watching it leave the yard. Penguins. Why do I keep saying Penguins? Good God. The Pirates shocked the Yankees in the baseball world by winning Game 7 of the World Series on Mazeroski's home run, and that portion of the left field wall is still very much alive and well, and it's located near the Pitt campus in Oakland. And every October 14th, which was when Mazeroski hit the home run, everyone gathers over at the old Forbes Field left field wall site to pay homage to that event that happened now, 62 years ago this year that it happened. Anyway, the Pirates had taken the first couple of games of the series before the Giants knocked off the Bucks yesterday 4-1. So they salvaged the final game of the weekend series. The Indians had a weekend to forget. They wound up winning the first game in Seattle, and then they dropped the next three games. Shane Bieber had a rough day. Rough for his standards. He didn't even get out of the fifth inning. And the Indians have now lost 3 games in a row. The West Coast trip continues tonight, as the Indians are out in Anaheim as they are taking on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Sam Hentges is on the bump tonight for the Tribe. Left-hander, big left-hander. He's a good-looking kid. 1-0, a 329 earned run average. Sandoval on the hill for the Angels. No record, a 6.14 ERA. Game time at 9:38 out in Anaheim. Meanwhile, the Pirates are going to be off tonight. Bucks are off tonight. They open up a series tomorrow, as they will be in St. Louis, opening up a series with the Central Division leading St. Louis Cardinals tomorrow evening. Cardinals 23-18 on the campaign. They currently are 5.5 better than the Pirates. Bucks are 17-23 through the first 40 games of the season. Meanwhile, the Indians are 21-17. They're 2.5 games in back of the White Sox. I'll tell you what, the White Sox, they've had all kinds of injury problems, and yet they are still head and shoulders above everyone, not just in the American League. They have the best record in all of Major League Baseball. 24 wins, 15 losses. They've won 8 of their last 10, and they are sitting in first place in the Central Division, 2.5 games better than the Indians. The Indians 21-17. As a matter of fact, if the playoffs were to start today, and obviously we got a long way to go before that happens, your playoff participants would be the White Sox winning the Central, the Red Sox winning the East, the A's winning the West, and the 2 wild card teams would be Houston and Toronto. Indians would not be in the playoffs if the playoffs were to start today. In the National League, the Mets would be out of the National League East, Cardinals out of the Central, the Giants out of the West, and your two wild card teams would be the Padres and the Dodgers. Dodgers are 22-18, 2 games off the pace in the National League West. By the way, the Dodgers, they picked up Albert Pujols. The rich get richer. Now, I doubt it's very seriously Pujols plays every day because you've got Max Muncy over at first base with the Dodgers, but I'm sure that Pujols will get his time, and he'll certainly get his ABs between now and the end of the season. A little surprised that the Indians didn't make a play for Pujols, considering the fact that Jake Bauers has been a hot mess. And one of the reasons why Bauers is still playing with the Indians is the inability of Bobby Bradley. Right now, Bobby Bradley he has started the season on a really bad way. The Clippers have played 11 games. Bradley homered yesterday. That's his 4th home run of the season in 11 games. But Bradley's only hitting $171. So it's not exactly a ringing endorsement for Bobby Bradley to be playing in the major leagues when 41 at-bats into his AAA season, he's hitting just $171. Now, he does have 4 homers, and he does have 11 runs batted in, but $171, and that's not exactly a ringing endorsement, if you will. And the other very disturbing issue is the fact that he has struck out 15 times in his first 41 at-bats. That's a little disturbing. So that's one of the reasons why Jake Bauers is still pretty much playing with the Indians, and the Indians have not designated him for assignment. I was surprised that the Indians didn't pull the plug on Bauers and allow Albert Pujols to be, at the very least, part-time first baseman, because you can also bring Josh Naylor down from right field to play first base. I mean, Friendmil Reyes it can be an everyday outfielder. He was with the Padres before the Indians acquired him, so it's not out of the realm of possibility for Friendmil to be a right fielder. I mean, let's be honest, he was a right fielder with San Diego. But the Indians decided not to do that. They just decided not to do that. There's a couple of other kids that everyone is needing to keep their eyes on, and unfortunately, Bradley Zimmer is another one. He's just hitting $171. Let's see. Oscar Mercado is hitting $146. Johnson is hitting just $250. Now, the kid that everyone is really looking at is Owen Miller. And we made mention of this Friday when we were on. Owen Miller's having a hell of a start to the 2021 minor league baseball season. 44 at-bats. He is hitting a red-hot 477. He's hitting 477. That's 21 hits in 44 at-bats. 21 for 44. Now, there is the possibility that Owen Miller could be called up to take over the everyday shortstop duties, mainly because the kid that has been playing shortstop for the Indians, the young man that they acquired from the New York Mets, he hadn't been hitting all that well. Not Rosario, Jimenez. Jimenez is hitting just $179. Rosario, he can play some shortstop. He can also play the outfield, and he's doing a pretty decent job in the outfield. But there is the possibility that Miller might get called up and Jimenez might get shipped back. Now, as we mentioned this on Friday, the problem with calling Miller up right now is Miller's not on the 40-man roster. So if the Indians do, in fact, call up Owen Miller, they have to put him on the 40-man roster. And someone from that 40-man roster would then have to be designated for assignment. Now, you could sit back and say, all right, we're going to designate Jake Bauers for assignment, and we're going to let Miller and Naylor share first base. I wouldn't necessarily agree to that, because you got to have an everyday first baseman. More importantly, you'd like to have a pretty decent first baseman defensively, and Bauers is a pretty decent, not a great, but a pretty decent first baseman defensively. You would need to have a somewhat decent first baseman defensively, and I don't think Naylor is, and I don't think Owen is either. Does Owen come in and Jimenez go back to the minors? That's a possibility. It's a possibility. Be interesting to see what happens. Be very, very interesting to see what happens. By the way, Jake Bauers hitting just $191. He is hitting just $191. Now, in fairness, there are some guys that are struggling offensively. Cesar Hernandez is hitting just $218. Jordan Luplow is hitting $183. Austin Hedges is hitting $137. Jimenez is hitting $179. Rosario is hitting $211. Perez was hitting well under 200. So, Bauers isn't the only guy that's struggling offensively. I mean, that would be a misnomer if everyone just piled on Jake Bauers because, we don't like Jake Bauers. There's a lot of other guys that aren't hitting the ball very well. I'm just saying. All right, 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. YSU firmly entrenched in the Horizon League Baseball Tournament, which will begin next week, next Thursday. The tournament will be held at Wright State University. The YSU baseball team is going to be in the tournament. The only question right now, the only question we have is, will the Penguins be the home team against UIC or the visiting team? And we made mention in the first hour, the only way the Penguins can be the home team against UIC is if the Penguins were to sweep Milwaukee in a 4-gamer and Northern Kentucky were to sweep UIC. If this were to happen, not only would Youngstown State be the 2 seed, but Northern Kentucky would then be the 4 seed. Right now, Northern Kentucky's only chance at getting past Milwaukee would be the same scenario for the Penguins to get past UIC and finish in second in the regular season. And that's a rather astronomical chance. The Penguins would have to sweep Milwaukee. Northern Kentucky would have to sweep UIC. Penguins have a much better chance of sweeping Milwaukee than Northern Kentucky does of beating UIC 4 straight. Simply put, I don't think it's going to happen. So I think that what we're going to see is Wright State will play Milwaukee in the first round of the conference tournaments, not this weekend, but next week. It'll be next Thursday. And UIC would play Youngstown State. Let's go to the phone lines where we can get some confirmation. Our guy, our play-by-play announcer, don't you know, for the YSU men on the horn. What's going on?
Hey, Ron, what's up?
Richie Giuliano joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Did I get that straightened out correctly? Barring a sweep of the Milwaukee team and a Northern Kentucky sweep of UIC, you'll essentially have Wright State playing Milwaukee and UIC playing YSU in the conference tournament, not this weekend, but next weekend.
Yeah, you're right there. I mean, Youngstown State has to finish off against Milwaukee this weekend, and if Northern Kentucky wants any chance to get into the tournament, they're going to have to take 3 out of 4 against UIC.
Yeah, I have them. They have to sweep because right now they're 3.5 games out of first place, so they'd have to sweep UIC, and Milwaukee would have to be swept by the Penguins.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I'm looking at it now. I look at a different website because I know sometimes the Horizon League one isn't updated as well. But you know, Youngstown State right now they're 21-15 in the conference, which is pretty solid this year, and I'm seeing UIC at 24-11. So it's going to be pretty tough for the Penguins to get to that 2 spot. But we mentioned this before. I mean, we knew a couple of weeks ago that the number 2 and 3 seeds are going to be locked down between Youngstown State and UIC. The only question would be who would get the home field advantage, and the Flames took care of business this past weekend. They swept the Mastodons. They've now won 7 in a row, so they pretty much locked in their stapling points at number 2.
Hey, Richie, let me ask you, because the one game that was not played for UIC is the final game of their series against Northern Kentucky, the first time they played each other. Is there any chance that the Horizon League would tell UIC and Northern Kentucky to play a 5-game series so both teams would have 40 conference games?
I think that could be a possibility. The only way I see that happening is if there would be some sort of like tiebreaker, maybe if Youngstown State would end up sweeping Milwaukee and UIC maybe somehow got swept by Northern Kentucky in the 4 games, and then there's somewhat of a tiebreaker or a misdemeanor in that case. But I don't really see that happening. 4 games in a weekend is a lot. So a 5th game would be just over the top. I don't even think anybody would have any pitching left from both sides. So right now I think UIC, if they take care of business 1 or 2 against Northern Kentucky, you could pretty much scratch that final game if there's no point in the seeding.
Richie Giuliano, the YSU men's baseball broadcaster, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. Penguins had a good weekend in Louisville, taking on Division I Bellarmine. They're new to Division I. The Penguins swept Bellarmine, and along the way, really, really good baseball played by the Penguins this weekend.
Yeah, fantastic baseball, exactly what you wanted in a final non-conference season. You kind of want to just sharpen the tools a little bit going into Milwaukee, as well as the Horizon League tournament, which is now next weekend. So, yeah, I mean, they brought the bats this week, and it's something that Coach Bertolini wanted to see. The offense is starting to heat up. They scored 11 runs in the first 2 games. First game they had 12 hits. The second one they exploded with 17 hits. I mean, they were able to bring in pinch hitters. All 3 of their pinch hitters got a hit. They were all 1 for 1, which was nice to see. So the offense exploded this weekend, and once again, Youngstown State had some contributions from that pitching staff. Colin Clark and Colin Floyd and John Snyder all threw good games as well. So exactly what you wanted. The plan was perfected this weekend. You take 3 out of 3 against Bellarmine. You're now 1 game away from getting to that 30 mark from the first time since the 1990s when Youngstown State won 31. So, you know, it's an exciting stretch for YSU. I know the program is really excited in the direction that this place is going. So it was a nice weekend, and glad to see all the bats start to warm up.
Obviously, this coming weekend, Penguins taking on Milwaukee, and you know, I mean, the Penguins, you get 3 out of 4 or a sweep, and now we're talking about the most wins for the Penguins in a long, long time. Let's say they sweep Milwaukee. Now we're talking 33 wins on the campaign, and more importantly, the Penguins playing some great baseball going into the Horizon League tournament, where I still think the Penguins could be a very dangerous team based on the fact they have so much depth on the mound.
Yeah, they have so much depth, and all their guys are starting to pitch so well. I know coming into the series, John Snyder, who's their 3 guy in the rotation, in his last 4 outings, he has only given up 3 earned runs, and he had 17 strikeouts combined in those 4 outings against Purdue, Fort Wayne, as well as Northern Kentucky and Milwaukee, some of the top teams in the league, as well as UIC. So it's nice to see even their deepest guy in the 3-hole in the starting rotation is pitching at such a high level right now, entering this tournament stretch. And another thing we didn't talk about a couple weeks ago, and I just noticed this on the schedule, Wright State has a bye this weekend. Now, I'm guessing they're probably going to try and pick something up just to get, their tools sharpened going into the tournament. But they have a bye in the final conference series of the year. So it'll be interesting to see what they do to try and stay hot.
Yeah, I would imagine that Wright State will pick up a 4-game non-conference series that will get them ready to go for the tournament. And obviously they've won the conference and they'll host the tournament. That doesn't necessarily mean that they'll win the tournament. And unfortunately, we saw evidence of that this weekend in Youngstown with the YSU softball team hosting it, but they didn't win the tournament. UIC did.
Yeah, you never know who's going to win it once you get there. And, it's a great example you just put forth there. We're disappointed to see Youngstown State softball. All the guys on the bus were watching the games. Our traveling day to Bellarmine, we were all watching the first game against Robert Morris. Bus was going crazy on that 3-run home run, and then they ended up winning 7-0. So, it was nice to see that the Penguins got off to such a great start. But unfortunately, and we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago as well, all it takes is one bad day in this tournament. Youngstown State got knocked off in a heartbreaker. You play right after that. There's barely any breaking time in the action. And next thing you know, you're packing your bags. And that can happen so fast in this mid-major tournament. Wright State could get knocked off real quick, and next thing you know, they got to play at 7 o'clock at night. Maybe hopefully they'll face UIC, and then the Flames are able to knock them off too. So you never know in this 4-game tournament.
Yeah, it's the Thursday and Friday. You just got to win. You have to win in your one game that you play on Thursday. You got to win that game to make sure that you only play one game on Thursday and you move on to Friday. And then you got to win that game on Friday to make sure you're not playing another game on Friday. Avoid playing the 2 games if at all possible. And as we've made mention, in a 4-team double elimination tournament, if you win your first 2 games, you're sitting in a really, really good spot.
Yeah, you're in the driver's seat at that point because the opposition, to get back to your level, has to play 4 or 5 games in the NCAA Horizon League tournament. So it'll be tough for a team to climb that mountain, and definitely with the pitching staff, because this is only a 3-day tournament. This is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's no Sunday games. So that's a lot of pitching going on in a 3-day span, especially if you have to play 5 games. So you better have a stocked-up pen or a stocked-up rotation that you could go to. And we've mentioned this as well. Youngstown State, out of the 4 teams in the tournament, might have the best rotation starting-wise. Wright State may have an argument for that, but both clubs do have a lot of depth in both their bullpen and starting rotation. UIC, Milwaukee, and Northern Kentucky, not so much, where 2 out of those 3 teams have a freshman starter on Friday that usually starts. So they don't have as much depth. They're, kind of structured for a 3-game weekend tournament, and now that the league has decided to go to 4 games in a weekend, some of these teams have really struggled on Sunday, and the scores reflect that. I mean, some of these games are like 15-11 final scores, 18-10. They have just been slugfests on the final Sunday getaway, and it kind of just reflects the pitching staffs across the league that they're not built for a 4-game weekend series. And if you lose the first game of the tournament, you're going to be playing that over a span of 2 days.
Richie Giuliano, the YSU baseball broadcaster for YSNLive.com. He joins me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Look, for those that are looking back and saying, "Oh, well, we'll just pitch Colin Clark or Colin Floyd twice in this series," that ain't going to happen. You're not going to throw a guy on Thursday and then tell him to start on 1 day's rest and pitch on Saturday. Or if the Penguins happen to win their Thursday game, then the other Colin pitches on Friday. Let's say the Penguins happen to win on Thursday, but they lose on Friday. Well, your first two starters, they're not going to pitch on Saturday unless you blew out this team on Thursday, and you can take your starter out, and then he can come back in a relief role on a Saturday if you need him. But chances are Colin Floyd and Colin Clark won't be seeing any time on Saturday, and that's where things get really interesting if the Penguins are alive on Saturday.
You're right. I mean, Colin Floyd and Colin Clark are probably scratched after Thursday and Friday, and like you said, maybe they get knocked out early, or we take them out early with a big lead. Maybe they only throw 3-4 innings or so. That would be the only case scenario where we would see Colin Floyd or Colin Clark throw on that Saturday afternoon. But that's why it's nice for Youngstown State that they have a John Snyder who's so efficient in that 3 starting spot. They have a freshman in Nick Perez who's been the 4th starter all year. They got a Chad Coles that has a possibility of starting a game just because he's been able to really lengthen out his bullpen appearances across the year, and he's starting to become like a 2, 3, 4 inning guy. You also got a couple guys that could throw an inning or two in that bullpen, which is nice because a more stocked-up bullpen in this case scenario in a tournament is key, because if you're playing Saturday without 3 out of your 4 starting pitchers, you're going to need some guys that could go in there and fill some innings.
No question. And, obviously this first game against UIC, I mean, and we're 1 week ahead of schedule. I mean, the Penguins are playing Milwaukee, but let's be honest, that 4-game series, hopefully the Penguins continue to win and they take a 8-game winning streak into the conference tournament. But the first round matchup is set. The Penguins are going to play UIC, and there's a 99% chance the Penguins are going to be the road team. That first game is huge because if the Penguins don't win that first game, now you're looking at either Colin Clark or Colin Floyd pitching in the loser's bracket game, and then your aces are gone on Thursday, and you're going to have to win 3 more games with essentially your 3, your 4, and your bullpen to win the NCAA or to win the Horizon League tournament. So this game against UIC, if the Penguins were to win that game, they have a shot. They have a legitimate shot at making a very, very deep run in this tournament. But if they lose this first game, oh boy, that pitching depth, it's going to get tested in a big, big way.
Yeah, and I think you could say the same for every other team. All the other teams across the league are looking at this first game saying, okay, we have to win this one, because if not, we are in some trouble, especially with the pitching rotation as, Northern Kentucky, Milwaukee, they don't have the deepest bullpen. They don't have the deepest starting rotation. Luckily, Youngstown State has some guys that fill some innings, but still, even losing that first game, now, even if you would win at 7 o'clock on Thursday night, you would face probably the loser of Wright State and UIC, who would have their 2 guy ready to go. So it's even harder when you're going to have your 3 or 4 facing a number 2 starter. And that's where it really gets difficult, because then maybe you beat UIC or Wright State, then you move on, and you got to play somebody else. So it gets tougher and tougher as the loser's bracket goes on, and you have a diminished bullpen or a diminished starting rotation.
Okay, we're 50 games into the season. Penguins are 29-21, 21-15 in conference play. I think that we pretty much can agree that Colin Floyd is probably the best pitcher on this team in terms of what he has done this year. Who is the guy for you that has put up the really good year offensively if you were to name a everyday player MVP, who would be your guy at this point?
Yeah, that's tough. That's a very tough question because there's a couple of guys who have been up and down throughout the season. I would say consistently Turner Graw would probably be my guy to put in for, the YSU Offensive Player of the Year. Don Bucko right now is unconscious at the plate, and it really kind of stings me not to throw his name out there, but he had such a slower start that, Turner Graw kind of passes him up because he's kind of been consistent this entire season. Turner Graw won the Horizon League Batter of the Week title back in the first or second week when they played LSU and Nicholls State. So he's just been consistently good. It's nice to see him now hitting up towards 300. He leads the league in doubles and triples this season, and his home runs are up there. He just tied the team lead for home runs this past weekend. So Turner Graw, just raw talent, a sophomore outfielder, and he plays both ways as well. He's a fantastic left fielder, your everyday left fielder that you want in your lineup, and he's got draftable talent in the upcoming years. So I would say Turner Graw and Don Bucko are two offensive players, but since Turner Graw has been so consistent this entire year, I'd probably pick his name out.
It's hard not to get excited long-term for this team, and we're talking well past 2021. There is some really good talent, and frankly, some talent that we haven't seen yet this year that is going to explode on the scene as early as 2022. This is the beautiful part of Youngstown State's baseball program. This is not a one-and-done type of team. There is a ton of talent coming back next year, and there is a really good chance that this team becomes just as good next year as they are this year.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, almost your entire infield's coming back. You got to replace Blaze Glenn at third, and you got to place Nick Caruso behind the plate, but Dylan Swarmer's the man for the job there behind the dish. I mean, he's come in this year. He's played 19 games, not as much as he has wanted this season behind the dish, but Nick Caruso is playing his final redshirt senior year. He's having a breakout season, hitting .310 with like 28 RBIs. But Swarmer, when he comes in, he steps in and does the job. He's hitting .356. I just looked at the stats. With 8 RBIs and only 45 at bats, he slugs .489. So I don't think Youngstown State's going to have any trouble filling that behind-the-plate role with, Dylan Swarmer, who will be the catcher next year. And then they'll probably have Braden O'Shaughnessy, another guy off the bench that will play third base. He's hitting .280 this season with 9 RBIs and only 61 at bats. So, I mean, you look at the infield, shortstop will be coming back, and Philip Glasser. Jeff Whaler the same. He's got an extra year due to the COVID rules. And then you got Steven DeSanio, Dominic Bucko in right. He'll be coming back. You got to fill an outfield position with Lucas Nasani, which I'm guessing they're going to move Graw to center. And then that kind of leaves the left field position open for whoever wants it. And there's a couple guys on the roster right now who could fight for that position, maybe some newcomers and a true freshman that would be willing to fill that role as well. So, I mean, you look at the defensive lineup as well as the, up and down 1 to 9 roster for Youngstown State. It's going to be fairly similar. A couple guys in their final senior year like Caruso and Nasani as well as Blaze Glenn, but that's only 3 out of the 9. So just look at the future of this program. Their offense is going to stay almost the same. It's the pitching staff that's going to leave a little bit of a dent. Nobody really knows what the deal is with Colin Clark right now, if he's going to stay or if he's going to, pursue something else. Colin Floyd is done. Luckily, John Snyder will return unless he gets drafted, as well as Nick Perez. So, the pitching staff will be the only replaceable hole in this entire team.
Yeah, it's. I'll tell you what, Dan Bertolini. If he's not named the coach of the year in the Horizon League, that's a thievery of epic proportions, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, you look at the way this program has turned around. 13 wins in 2019. I mean, you go from 13 to a pandemic year where you beat the University of Houston, who was top 35 in the RPI. You beat a couple of big schools down south. You're 7-7. They lose a fluke at home, which we were able to call against Bowling Green. We know the wind was blowing in. It was a freezing cold day. We both had earmuffs on, for goodness sake. And, they drop a heartbreaker there against Bowling Green in 7-7. And then you turn around this year, and they're on the brink of winning 30 games. I mean, just look at the turnaround from this program. This is a team 4 or 5 years ago that wasn't even making the Horizon League tournament because they were the 7th seed in the tournament, and the 7th seed didn't make it. It was only the top 6. So, I mean, just look at the turnaround in this 5-year span with Youngstown State. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's been a masterful job, not just by Dan Bertolini, by his coaching staff, and the recruiting has been spot on. Obviously, the judge of talent has been spot on, and clearly the kids that came back from the pandemic year in which the Penguins were 7-7 and showed some glimpse, some good glimpses into what we're looking at right now. Boy, those kids came back hungry, and to their credit, they busted their butts in the off season, and we're seeing some really, really good baseball being played by the Penguins. And, you know, I think if there is a threat to Wright State, and let's be honest, Wright State will be the heavy favorite to win this tournament because they're Wright State. It's their facilities that we'll be playing in, and they're damn near unbeatable in those facilities. But if there is a team that can beat Wright State, I think the only team that can beat Wright State in that tournament is Youngstown State.
I'd agree 100%. I mean, Youngstown State, before the Milwaukee loss, was the only team to beat Wright State, and they beat them 3 out of 4 as well. I mean, they won the series against them at home. So, I mean, they've only showed the only glimpse of, promise against the top seed in Wright State. They got 28 wins and only 4 losses in the conference. They pretty much swept every team except for Youngstown State. Then Milwaukee was able to get one as well. So, yeah, it's always tough playing at Wright State, and they're going to have a good crowd on hand. It's a nice baseball area there outside of Dayton. Nice facility at Nishwitz Stadium. So it should be a lot of fun, but I agree. I just think the way Youngstown State matches up, they have the best chance against Wright State. When you talk about the pitching staff, even if Colin Clark or Colin Floyd pitches on that Thursday, you still got the second guy, which is as good as pretty much the first guy you faced on Thursday. So, yeah, I think Youngstown State will have the benefit of the doubt when it comes to beating the Raiders when you look at the 7 teams in the league this season.
Now, in fairness, the only team that has beaten Wright State at Wright State in conference play is Milwaukee. Back on the 7th of May, they were able to defeat Wright State 11-6 in the first game of the 4-game series with Wright State. So Milwaukee is the only team that have beaten Wright State at home for Wright State. So who knows? If lightning strikes twice, well, now the Penguins could be in really, really good shape if let's say they play, and I don't even know what the schedule is, if they've come out with a schedule. Would the 2-3 game be first or the 1-4 game?
So I believe Youngstown, I'm going to look up the schedule real quick. I could look it up. But Youngstown State and UIC, I think, play that 3 o'clock game. So I'm pretty sure that Wright State and Milwaukee or Wright State and NKU would play at noon.
All right, so let's say, Milwaukee, and again, the only way Milwaukee does not get a playoff spot is if they were to be swept by the Penguins and Northern Kentucky sweeps UIC, and if that happens, then I might as well just play the lottery because that's just crazy, crazy odds. Not just for the Penguins. I think the Penguins can sweep Milwaukee. I don't think there's a chance in hell at Northern Kentucky sweeping UIC, but let's assume Wright State plays Milwaukee. Hey, look, lightning can strike twice, and if it does, you got to believe the winner of the UIC-YSU game just punched their ticket to a championship round.
Yeah, I think if Milwaukee or Northern Kentucky would upset Wright State in that first round, UIC and Youngstown State's looking at it, and they might change their approach as well when it comes to pitching staff. If they watch that first game, because I did look it up, it's 11 a.m. is game 1, and that's going to be the Wright State and Northern Kentucky or Milwaukee game, and then Youngstown State and UIC will play at 3 o'clock. So, I mean, they're watching that first game, and teams will have a plan going in saying, okay, if Wright State somehow would lose this first game, maybe we'll throw this guy instead of this guy to get to the point where we have a chance of beating Milwaukee or Northern Kentucky. And then it's also nice that Youngstown State has been able to play Milwaukee twice. They see who pitches well against the Panthers. They also see who pitches well against Wright State. So that's kind of the advantage you have this season, that Youngstown State has played these teams multiple times, and our pitching staff has been fully healthy. Therefore, they've faced them once or twice.
And it's interesting that you bring that up, because it obviously goes right into the conversation we had last week. Colin Clark shut down UIC the last time these two teams played each other, and Colin Clark has done pretty well against UIC this year. Do you think Dan Bertolini makes that decision to say, hey, we're going to go Colin Clark in game number 1 because he's had some success against UIC this year?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this last week, and, I believe so. I believe that he would throw Clark against UIC. I mean, he won Horizon League Pitcher of the Week last time these two teams faced. He got the only win against UIC at their place, shut them down 8 innings with 8 strikeouts, only allowed 4 hits and no runs. So, yeah, I mean, Colin Clark, right now he could be the front runner when they play the Flames, knowing that Colin Floyd also pitched better against Wright State than Clark did against the Raiders.
It could be interesting. And again, if Milwaukee or Northern Kentucky were to upset Wright State, then you would be looking at possibly, and the temptation would be there, to sit back and say, hey, Colin Floyd, you're not pitching until the 3rd game, and we'll save you for that, and pitch the 3rd starter. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but it's you can see where this could be interesting.
You know what, I mentioned this earlier, and, talking about John Snyder and his stats and how good he's pitched, another good game against Bellarmine. If you see Wright State lose that first game, that could always be a possibility. You save Colin Floyd for that championship. Clarkie's been pitching well for us. Snyder's been pitching well, and he also locked down Milwaukee as well. So that's another guy you could kind of throw into the mix, say, hey, let's hope our 1 and 3 guys could beat them, so then we'll have Colin Floyd in the championship game. Then you're really, really in the driver's seat to win the tournament, because the 1 and 2 guys for Wright State would be out.
Yeah, dare to dream.
Yeah, exactly. These are scenarios that we are dreaming about in our heads, obviously, but it could happen. You never know.
Hey, look, let's just get through this weekend, and hopefully the Penguins crack the 30 mark and then some, and sweep Milwaukee, come to the tournament on an 8-game winning streak. That would be phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. And I hope they get a good crowd this weekend. It's supposed to be absolutely gorgeous outside, up in the 80s, lower 80s, and upper 80s. Sunshine, going to be over Eastwood Field, or Beastwood as they call it now. So hopefully they get a good crowd. It's a good atmosphere. They could win their 30th game, set some program records, and hopefully the fans of Youngstown State come out and appreciate what this team has done for the community this season. And, the players as well as the coaches deserve to have some bodies in the stands this weekend.
And you never know, maybe one of the kids from YSU sticks around when the college baseball season ends and plays for the Scrappers. Yeah. It might happen. You never know.
Oh, yeah, it might.
Yeah, it might happen. Richie, always a pleasure, my brother.
All right, thanks, Ron.
See you. Richie Giuliano, the voice of the YSU men's baseball program. We'll take a timeout. On the other side, speaking of the Scrappers, Jordan Taylor, general manager of the Scrappers, joining me after this timeout. Stick around. It's a Monday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, We're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Erin Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealthadvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
If you're looking for a new Ford vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of new Ford models. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your new Ford. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their new Ford at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to the final hour of a Monday edition of Running Point. Ron Potesta with you, and joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, the busiest man in the Mahoning Valley in terms of busy with baseball and whatnot, the general manager of the Mahoning Valley Scrappers, Jordan Taylor. It's a busy day up at Eastwood today.
Yeah, it is. Each day gets a little busier than the one before, but yeah, it's a good thing. It means we're right around the corner from starting.
All right, a couple of days from today, Wednesday night at 6 o'clock to be exact, we have the first of many meetings at Eastwood Field. It's an evening with Scrappers manager Coco Crisp. That's Wednesday night at 6 o'clock at Eastwood Field. $25 for the tickets. It gets you food, drink, a Q&A session with the manager of the Scrappers, an autographed photo of Coco, and every fan will get an upper box ticket voucher. This should be a fun time. How are tickets going for this, Jordan?
Yeah, they're going well. So we're somewhat limited in terms of spacing, just kind of keeping people distanced, but still have some tickets available. Looks like Wednesday will be a nice night. So still an opportunity to come out and really unique chance to ask questions of Coco. He'll kind of share his thoughts on the season. Get a dinner, and then also an opportunity to come to a game in May here when we kick off.
Okay, now the CDC made the announcement that after June the 2nd, and I think the state of Ohio jumped all over this, masks are no longer required for people that have been vaccinated. Yours truly is one of those folks. I did the vaccination. It'll be second vaccination. It'll be 2 weeks this Friday. And obviously, come June the 5th, the Scrappers will be home, 2-game series with State College. Are we looking at unlimited fans where we can get 6,000?
Yeah, so capacity will definitely open up. So that June 5th would be the first game that we be able to do that. So we are really looking forward to that date, and still we have 5 home games before that where we'll have some reduced capacity compared to normal, but still able to get a good number of fans in for those first 5 games. Okay,
the first 5 games, what is the limit for the amount of tickets that can be sold for these first 5?
It's right around 2,500.
Okay. All right, State College comes in 1 week from today. That'll be the home opener, 7:05 at Eastwood Field. Fireworks after the game. A brief 2-gamer with State College. And then Frederick comes in, I believe, the only time Frederick comes in this year. It'll be a 3-game series with the Frederick Keys, formerly of the Carolina League. That'll be a weekend series with Frederick, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Fireworks on Friday, 7:05 start. 7:05 start on Saturday. And then the Sunday games, is it a 4:05 start?
Right, Sunday. All Sundays are 4:05. The lone exception is we do have a Sunday game on July 4th, but we wanted to make sure to do fireworks on that day, so we'll start at 7:05 on the 4th of July.
Yeah, I was going to say the fireworks after the game will be huge because I mean, let's face it, it's the freaking 4th of July. You'll have your gigantic fireworks display, and as I always joke on the 4th of July, you don't want fireworks during the game. You want the fireworks after the game.
After. Yep, that's right.
All right, let's talk about the league. It's quickly coming together. Obviously, the 6-team league in the inaugural season, the Scrappers, State College, West Virginia, Williamsport, Frederick, and Trenton. We made mention Trenton is in an interesting situation. The Toronto Blue Jays are going to be using Buffalo's ballpark, so the Buffalo Bisons are playing their home games, I use air quotes here, in Trenton, but that doesn't mean the Trenton Thunder will not be part of this league. If Buffalo's on the road, those games will be played at the home park, which I believe is Arm & Hammer ballpark. If the Bison happen to be playing that day, then the Thunder would be playing in another facility in Trenton.
Yeah, Rider University, which is pretty close to Arm & Hammer ballpark, so that'll be their alternate site for as long as they that there's kind of the shuffle from AAA on down. So
yeah, and again,
once that,
when the borders, if the borders are ever opened, then the Blue Jays would go back to Toronto, the Bison would go back to Buffalo, and the Trenton Thunder would remain at home. But again, with the borders closed, Toronto can't go into Canada, so they are playing in their AAA facility in downtown Buffalo. The Buffalo Bison are playing in the former AA home of the New York Yankees in Trenton. And if the Thunder are home and nobody else is home, or the Bison aren't home, then they'll play in the Arm & Hammer Stadium. If the Bison are home, then you'll go to a nearby college.
Yep, and they I know the first 2 games, I looked at the schedule, are actually at the Trenton team is playing at Citizens Bank Park, so they get a nice bonus there for their first 2 games. They're in a big league park to start the draft league.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. As far as rosters go, I brought this up. This This is, for me, this is the interesting part of the season, which begins 1 week from tonight. You know, we laid out the scenario. All high school seniors are eligible for the Major League Baseball draft. So are junior college players and college players that have been in college for 3 years. They're all eligible to be in the Major League Baseball draft. Prep Baseball Report is in charge of inviting these players into the particular league. Now, the caveat is the team in which they're playing for has to have their season complete. Well, you know as well as I do, let's say, and I made an example, an Ohio high school athlete has been invited. Well, the week of May the 24th is district week. So if that high school team is in the district tournaments, he's not going to be playing the first week of the season. If they're in the regional tournaments, he won't play the first 2 weeks of the season. And if his team happens to get into the state playoffs, he probably won't play the first 3 weeks of the season. So what happens? Well, you get some kids that normally would not be on an opening day roster, but they get their opportunity to earn their way on this roster for the whole campaign.
Yes, so it's basically two different sets of groupings of players. So we have players which, if people are familiar with the Cape Cod League, they're called temporary contracts. They will come in, all players that Major League Baseball identified, and as somebody that's a draft prospect, typically from smaller schools, JUCOs, that'll get that opportunity. They'll come in for the first couple weeks of the season. A number will stick around and show something that warrants them to stay through the remainder of the year, and then another batch most likely won't, and then they'll go back home and then be replaced with a player on a permanent contract.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that this player is ultimately not going to get drafted. And, the beautiful part of this league is if you're playing in front of the right person that happens to think you have an opportunity to be a major league player, you'll get drafted.
Yep, absolutely. And that's a big part of this league is, the scouts, get a firsthand look at these guys in a, pretty competitive environment and, grinding out every day and seeing who has what it takes to get drafted and then, start their professional career.
General Manager Jordan Taylor of the Mahoning Valley Scrappers joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. One of the many questions about the inaugural season is what happens when the kids are drafted, what becomes of them once they sign their contract. Has Major League Baseball made a universal decision for the Major League teams, or is this going to be whatever the team wants for the young man in question is what will happen to the young man?
Yeah, the second. So I think as we get through this first year, I think you'll see a little more uniform stance on the players. But at this point, it's going to be determined by each major league organization. So my guess is, probably more likelihood position players would stick around compared to pitchers who may have thrown a set number of innings and are ready to kind of take a break and get ready for instructs in the fall. So definitely is going to be a case by case basis with each player.
Yeah, I tend to agree with what you're saying. I mean, a position player, you want to be able to get that kid the ABs, and it really doesn't make any sense to get them away when you only have about 5 weeks before the end of the season for the draft league. You might as well have the kid play through mid-August. Now, if he's tearing the cover off the ball once the season comes to a close, hey, who knows? Maybe you challenge them and put them in A ball or high A ball and say, all right, the final 3 weeks of the season, let's see what you can do against a new environment and go from there. But I would imagine we'll see a lot more position players stick around than pitchers.
Yeah, I would think so. And the thing is too, there's not short season baseball any longer. So these guys traditionally would get drafted and then go play, other than a handful of exceptions into short season ball. So without that, we're really there, the alternative to finish and get at bats or innings, if need be, until instructs.
How big of a jump is this going to be now that there is no short season A ball? The fear for me prior to the draft league making the announcement and prior to this really good decision by Major League Baseball, albeit at the expense of short season ball, how big of a jump is this now going to be for a kid that gets drafted, has been playing in this draft league, and let's say a general manager says, all right, we're taking this kid off of the draft league roster and we're going to let him go to low A ball. That's a huge jump to go from, hey, we're gonna get you out of this league and we're going to put you into an established professional league. That's a gigantic jump.
Yeah. I think that'll be pretty rare. I think that the most likely scenario is they, finish out or take, a few weeks off and then kind of do an orientation at whatever big league spring training complex and kind of start working in that way and then be ready the next spring for full season ball. I mean, there may be some players, and if they were from a bigger school and, played in a high-level environment, maybe not as big of a jump, but some of the younger guys, that would be it's a pretty big leap from a JUCO to low A ball in the same summer.
Jordan Taylor joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. He's the general manager of the Mahoning Valley Scrappers. 1 week from tonight, the Scrappers open up the inaugural Major League Baseball Draft League season in Morgantown, West Virginia, as they take on the West Virginia Black Bears. The roster, it's going to be pretty soon before this roster comes out. Players should be coming into town by the end of the week. When are we looking at a roster, Jordan?
Well, our first game is going to be on Monday the 24th in West Virginia, so definitely before that. We have players starting to come in as early as Wednesday, and then a lot start to show up Saturday and into Sunday. So we'll have a group, at that point, and then what we'll probably do is just release the entire allotment of players we have assigned to us. That'll stagger in throughout the summer.
Now, as we made mention a number of times, this is a geographically friendly league, so there are some kids that potentially could be drafted or not drafted, but could be put into the Scrappers team that some folks may have seen a time or two throughout the state of Ohio and surrounding areas. But what about the kids that aren't from geographically anywhere close to Frederick, Maryland, or State College, PA, Williamsport, PA, Morgantown, West Virginia, Trenton, New Jersey, or the Mahoning Valley? Do those kids get evenly divided?
Yep. That's the plan. So basically, if there's some geographical tie to the player to the team, they match them up that way first. Then the bulk of these rosters, that's not the case, so then they just are evenly distributed based on where that player is viewed at that particular time. Now, that could certainly change once, they get here and start playing, but, in terms of, I guess, what their reputation is at that time, they're evenly distributed.
Jordan Taylor joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. We know that Coco Crisp is the manager of this team. We'll see him on Wednesday, and hopefully we'll see you at Eastwood Field. I know I'm going to be there and have some fun along the way. What about the rest of the coaching staff? Are we getting the 411 pretty soon about that?
Yeah, so, we have there's three additional coaches on our staff. Will be in on Wednesday of this week. Our hitting coach is Vic Butler, who played in the minor leagues for a while and has been a coach out in California. He's going to be here Wednesday. And then Ron Mayhay is our pitching coach, pitched in the big leagues for a while. We'll also be in here. And then we have a local connection as well this year, Craig Antush, who has coached in college before, does a lot on the amateur side of things, is going to help out as a pitching coach assistant due to the number of arms we will have in here for the season.
Okay, what are we talking about for roster limits? How many players are you allowed to have on this team at one time?
Yeah, it's going to be 30 is where it's going to cap out at. So
30.
That 30 with, skewing towards pitching.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can sit back and essentially people can go, all right, let's go 17 pitchers, 13 hitters.
Right.
And if there's a DH, which I'm assuming there's going to be, then you're looking at 4 guys coming off the bench, including a backup catcher, and 3 guys that you can plug in as a pinch hitter if there's extra innings. Now, speaking of extra innings, are we going to go with the extra inning rule that's currently in Major League Baseball, or?
Yeah, that right now is what we're kind of following suit with that. What's going on in Major League and minor league baseball?
All right, and it's 9-inning games.
9 innings. Yep.
All right, fantastic. This this is a season that begins 1 week from tonight in Morgantown, West Virginia. The home opener 1 week from Wednesday. State College comes to town. Fireworks after the game. About 2,500 tickets are going to be on sale. The first homestand, and then the next time the Scrappers are home. Hey, all bets are off. Yeah, everyone can fill the stadium because we won't be back home until Saturday, June the 5th.
Correct.
Yeah, it should be an awful lot of fun. And season tickets have been on sale for quite a while. Single game tickets have been on sale. What is the tickets available for opening day 1 week from Wednesday?
Yep, still have availability. Your kind of premium level seats are sold at this point, but once you get into the upper box, down the lines, general admission, we still have availability in all those.
So tickets available for the first 5 games, 5 home games of the 2021 inaugural Major League Baseball Draft League. And again, we'll, in all likelihood, meet the coaching staff, the entire coaching staff, on Wednesday. And the roster will be set, at least for the first part of the campaign, later in the week. And fingers crossed we'll get some local kids.
Yep, I would definitely will have some, maybe not right at the start, but as we go through the season for sure.
Jordan, always a pleasure, and I can't wait to get this thing started for me 9 days from now, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yep, I agree. Looking forward to it.
All right, Jordan, always a pleasure, sir.
Yep, thank you, Ron.
All right, see ya. Jordan Taylor, General Manager of the Mahoning Valley Scrappers, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. It's gonna be a blast. Again, this Wednesday, an evening with Coco Crisp. That'll be on May the 19th at 6 p.m. at Eastwood Field. Tickets are $25. It includes food, drink, a Q&A session with the Scrappers manager, Coco Crisp. The coaching staff will be there as well. You get an autographed photo of Coco, and each fan coming to this event will get a ticket voucher good for 1 upper box tickets. If you want more information, contact the Scrappers. Their phone number is 330-505-0000. That's 330-505-0000. Or you can go online, mvscrappers.com. That's mvscrappers.com. Give me a timeout. We're back in a bit. It's a Monday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance. your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point. Ron Potesta with you. Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. All right, high school baseball and high school softball take the spotlight today. For high school baseball, this is game or day number 1 of the tournaments. And for the D2 and D3 programs, this is your day to shine. The first round of the sectional tournaments will be today at 5 o'clock. Division 2, we got a quintet of games, 5 games for today. Cheney is at Marlington, Lakeview at Hubbard, Struthers at Louisville. East will travel to Chardon to take on Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, and Girard is at Poland. All 5 of those games will begin at 5 o'clock today. Those are the first round Division 2 baseball tournament games. Division 3, 5 games will be played from local teams. Waterloo will travel to Newton Falls. United is at Camel. Crestwood will come to Scene Park to take on Ursuline. East Palestine will go to Scene Park to play Cardinal Mooney. And Liberty is at Middlefield Cardinal. All of those games will begin at 5 o'clock. Again, that's Division 3, first round sectional tournament play. Division 1 and 4 girls softball, you will have your district semifinals today over at Fitch. And the reason why Anthony Hartwig is not here, he is going to be broadcasting not one, but both of the district semifinal games at Fitch High School. Austintown Fitch will be taking on Chardon in Game 1 at 4 o'clock. And then the nightcap is scheduled to begin at 5:30. That might be a little later than 5:30. It just depends on how quick the first game is. Again, Fitch playing Chardon at 4. In the nightcap, Boardman taking on North Canton Hoover. So there is a chance, there is a possibility that we could be seeing Austintown Fitch and Boardman playing in a district championship game. And that would be pretty cool. But right now, Fitch and Boardman have some work to do. Fitch needs to knock off Chardon. Boardman needs to knock off North Canton Hoover. Again, the district semifinals at Fitch. Fitch will play Chardon at 4. Boardman is scheduled to play North Canton Hoover at 5:30. Division 4, there's going to be 2 district sites. The D4 district sites, number 1 is up at Candlelight Knolls in Warren. Matthews is playing Badger right now as we speak. Matthews taking on Badger as we speak. Matthews, the number 1 seed in this district tournament at Candlelight Knolls. Actually, they're the number 1 seed overall in the Super Size Me Division 4 district. Matthews playing Badger as of right now. We haven't had an update, but Matthews playing Badger right now. At 5 o'clock, Brookfield will be playing Lisbon. The winner of the Matthews-Badger game gets the winner of the Brookfield-Lisbon game on Wednesday, but the district semifinals, 1 game going on right now. Matthews taking on Badger, and the nightcap will have Brookfield playing Lisbon. That's a 5 o'clock start. The other district semifinal location is Jackson Milton High School. This afternoon at 4 o'clock, McDonald will be playing Bristol. That game begins at 4 o'clock, and then the nightcap is scheduled to start at 5:30. Western Reserve will play East Canton. That game is set to begin at scheduled start at 5:30. Of course, that's at the mercy of game number 1. If McDonald and Bristol happens to be a slow-moving contest, or if it's an extra inning affair, then that 5:30 start is probably a little bit closer to 6 o'clock. But as of right now, McDonald playing Bristol at 4, and Western Reserve and East Canton, the scheduled start is 5:30. Boys lacrosse tournament, Division 2, Canfield will travel to Chagrin Falls. That is a 7 o'clock start. And we have girls lacrosse, Division 1. Boardman is going to be visiting Painesville Riverside, and that game is scheduled to start at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow, Division 1 and Division 4 will have their sectional first-round games. Now, truth be told, Boardman and Fitch, 2 of the 3 area teams, have byes, and they will go into the sectional title game on Thursday. So Fitch and Boardman will be playing on Thursday. They do not play in the first round of the sectionals. Warren Harding will be hosting Painesville Harvey at 5 o'clock in the only Division 1 sectional first round game. Division 4, your sectional first round games, a lot of games, as a matter of fact. Here's the schedule. Wyndham is at Lowellville. Mineral Ridge is at Lisbon. Badger at Maplewood. Lordstown at McDonald. Sebring visits Leetonia. Chalker takes the trip to the river to take on Wellsville. And Brookfield is at Bristol. All of those games will start at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. That's the Division 4 first-round sectional tournaments. For softball, tomorrow it'll be D2 and D3 playing their district semifinals. In the first district sites, Hubbard High School, tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock, it'll be Girard taking on Marlington. And then at 5:30, Canfield will play Hubbard. Marlington is the top seed in the Super Size Me Division II district. Canfield is the 2 seed, and they jumped right into the Marlington district. So I'll be very curious to see if Marlington and Canfield, if it's chalk, those 2 teams would play each other for a district championship game on Thursday. But they have some work to do. Girard plays Marlington at 4, and then the game scheduled for 5:30 is Canfield and Hubbard. The other Division II site is Jefferson up in Ashtabula County. At 4:30 on 2 different fields, there will be 2 different games being played. Because there are 2 softball fields, West Branch will play Aurora on one of the fields, and Poland will play Mogador Field on the other complex, or the other field, if you will. Both of those games will start at 4:30. Division III, the first district is at LeBray High School. At 3:15, South Range will be playing Kirtland. That name should ring a bell to the South Range fans, not necessarily with softball, but certainly with some other sports. And hopefully South Range will be able to take care of Kirtland tomorrow afternoon at 3:15. The 5 o'clock game is Champion taking on Gilmore Academy. The other Division III site is Farmers National Bank Field on the campus of Youngstown State University. Tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock, Ursuline will play Burton Berkshire, and at 5 o'clock, Newton Falls will play Rootstown. Those are games being played tomorrow. Tomorrow, Division II and Division III girls softball district tournaments will be played. Also, tomorrow night, the winner of the Boardman-Painesville Riverside girls lacrosse game will get Massillon-Jackson at Massillon. The winner of the Boardman-Painesville Riverside game takes on Massillon-Jackson tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. All right, 330-886-0813. Let's go to Rich. Rich, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on, brother?
Hey, good afternoon, young man.
Hey, how goes it? You doing all right, Rich?
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to adjust the volume.
All right.
If I got any better, I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
And, just a tip of the hat to the YSC Track and Grill program here. I didn't follow it this weekend, but the previous weekend, they kicked some butt.
Yeah, they the double winners in the Horizon League. They won the men's Horizon League championship, and then they won the women's Horizon League championship as well. I mean, Rich, this has been an unbelievable spring for the YSU Penguins athletic department. You've got double winners, regular season winners, and conference tournament winners in track and field. The softball team won the regular season championship. Unfortunately, they didn't win the tournament, but they won the regular season championship. And the YSU men are in the Horizon League baseball tournament. That'll start next weekend.
Excellent. Nice to see the local guys and gals kicking some butt.
Yeah, no argument here. That was a fantastic job this spring for the YSU spring sports.
I was because I got so much time on my hands. I was going through some 80s and 90s and current baseball players in the MLB. Chili Davis was phenomenal.
Yeah, he was a good player.
Oh man, switch hitter, power speed, 5-tool player all the way to the max. And on that note, getting into the 2021 seasons, there's some really good athletes out there, Ron.
Yeah, there really is. I think that there is a guy playing in Seattle that outside of Seattle, not many people know of him. I remember when I was still working in terrestrial radio, and I had an opportunity to go to the last All-Star game prior to the one in Cleveland. That would have been the 2019 or the 2018 All-Star game in Washington. Mitch Haniger was selected by the coaches to take part on the reserve team in the American League. Mitch Haniger is leading the American League, or he's the co-leader in home runs with Jose Ramirez. And I will guarantee you, Rich, there are not a whole lot of baseball fans that know Mitch Haniger outside of Seattle, but this kid is absolutely legit. He is a fantastic baseball player.
5 tools to the max, eh?
He's a good player. I don't know if he's 5 tools, but he can certainly hit the long ball, and he's not a bad defender as well.
I'll throw a few names at you. I'm still a Manny Machado fan. In my baseball league, he's known as Manchado because he just rips the hell out of the ball.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit average-wise this year. The last I saw, he was hitting in the low 200s. But you know, he's a solid kid. I mean, and he's gonna turn that around. Keep in mind, he's also playing in a pitcher's park half of the time during the regular season. So, but he'll be okay. He's off to a slow start this year. He's hitting 230 right now. He's off to a slow start, but he'll get it going sooner or later.
Yeah, he'll be up there. What about that kid that played in Boston? Now with L.A., I believe.
Mookie Betts.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, Mookie's a good-looking ball player, and again, he's only hitting 257 right now, but he's a guy that has MVP caliber potential, and you know, he's just one of those guys that he's on a short list of best player not named Mike Trout.
Amen. All right, let me throw one at you. Nico Horner. You ever hear of him?
Oh gosh, I know the name. I can't remember who he plays for.
That makes 2 of us. I missed that part of where he's currently playing. This kid's solid, second baseman, I believe.
I wanted to say he was with Miami, but I don't think he's with Miami. I gotta look that up. But I know the name. I can't place him on a team right now.
I'm throwing at you a bunch of 5-star players. Lori Garcia, killer.
Yeah, I mean he's having a good year. I don't know. I don't necessarily think he's a 5-star player, but he's good.
The point of the call was there's plenty of good athletes running around right now that can play baseball.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They also have a bunch of speed in them, which can't be taught.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, they don't steal very many bases, so you don't get to see the speed factor because of the fact that for whatever reason we're not stealing bases in baseball these days.
Well, because there's injuries, etc. We don't want to hurt the off-season. What do you call that? Contract debates.
Yeah, I think it's more or less the fact that you don't need to steal bases if guys are swinging for the fence every time up. So.
Well, that's true. Why murder yourself when you know the guy's going to hit a double or a triple or a home run?
Yeah.
And you score anyway.
Yeah.
Well, that's what baseball has become. But I'm starting to get into it a little bit here.
Yeah, I prefer the game to be played the way it was played, where you don't necessarily swing for a home run, but you swing to make good contact and put the ball in the alleys or move the runner over, get him on, get him over, get him in is that's a huge thing. And hitting behind the runner with runner at second, less than 2 outs, and moving him up moving him along the line and get him in with a base hit or sac fly and go from there. It's manufacturing type of baseball, but if you can't hit a home run, manufacturing runs is a good way to do it as well.
As a real good friend of mine once said, hitting behind the batter is the art of hitting. And that his initials would have been Ron Cotesta.
Well, that's an art form, especially if you're a left-handed hitter and there's a runner at third base and the infield is playing back. It's easy to hit the ball behind the runner because if you go to ground out to the second baseman, if the infield's playing back, that run's going to score. The hard part is if you got a runner at second base, a right-handed batter up, you have to hit the ball to the right side in order to get that guy from second base to third base, whether it's a hard contact in the air, medium, deep right field, or toward the line in right field where the guy has to run down the ball, and then you can get the guy from second to third, or a hard ground ball to the right side of the infield where the second baseman or the first baseman, they're going to get the out in front of them and not try to throw the ball across the diamond. So hitting behind the runner, and you'd see that with, let's say, a runner at second base, nobody out, or a runner at second base and one man out. You know, in today's game where the strikeout is allegedly not that big of a deal, bull crap, it isn't that big of a deal. Because if a guy strikes out, you didn't do anything. You didn't even move the runner up from second to third base or first to second base or third base to home. You did absolutely nothing. The only thing that would be worse than striking out is hitting into a double play. At least put the ball in play. And if you're a right-handed batter, if you hit the ball to the right side of the infield and move the guy from second to third base, I got no problems with that. That's a damn good at bat as long as the guy scores from third base. That's a damn good at bat. But if you strike out and you're leaving the runner at second base, and okay, now instead of one out, there's two out, or no outs, there's one out, okay, you didn't do your job. You just at least get the guy over.
All right, I got a final question for you. I'll let you go. By the way, I'm making sloppy joes. So if you want to,
dude, I got to have some of those.
Smothered in sauteed peppers and onions.
Nice.
So give me a call if you want one. Anyway, last question. You know, I'm on the internet, and by the way, I'm in Facebook jail again. Imagine that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, well, you know, it is what it is. A bunch of guys with no pubic hair are passing judgment, but I'm okay with that.
There you go. All right.
Anyway, looking at the baseball sites I have here, all the critics on Ricky Henderson. Stealing third base was a waste.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Stealing third base was a waste. Oh, stop. Oh, God. It's just... The conversation ends when people bring something that stupid up.
I figured you'd agree. That's pretty asinine, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it just the conversation for me ends if someone is that stupid to say, "Oh, that wasn't really that big of a deal." Okay. Okay.
Yeah. The throw to third base is the shortest throw for a catcher.
Yeah, I mean it's and look, I loved, and it wasn't just Ricky. Tim Raines was a base stealer. Willie McGee. Hell, I'll even throw a name out that will from Indians days gone by. Miguel Delaunay.
Oh yeah,
stole like 80 some odd bases in 1 year. I think it was in the 1980s season. And I'll even throw a name out for Pirates fans. Omar Moreno, the Antelope. Oh my Lord, that guy was good for 75 to 80 steals a year back in the day.
Yeah, you know what's amazing about him? He only batted like under 250. But when he got on base, it was an automatic double.
No, it was an automatic. He was going to second base, and there wasn't very many guys that would throw him out. I think Bench was one of the guys that could punch him out, but Johnny was getting up in age at that point. But you know, he was one of the few backstops. Gary Carter every once in a while could throw him out, but there weren't a whole lot of people that could throw out Omar Moreno.
I'll give you another one. Ron LaFleur from the Montreal Expos.
Yeah. Before he went to Montreal, he was huge at Detroit. And before he was in Detroit, he was in the penal system because he was in jail for a while. You know, he was in the penal league. Yeah.
But last question. You keep bringing up good stuff. For long term, Carter or Bench?
Oh, no, it's not even close. Johnny Bench, head and shoulders above Gary Carter. And I loved Gary Carter, but Johnny Bench was head and shoulders above him. And I would even argue the only guy contemporary of today or somewhere in that vicinity that comes remotely close to bench defensively or arm strength. And I know some folks are going to sit back and go Ivan Rodriguez and okay. Yadier Molina, to me, is the guy that is the closest to bench. And I would even say he's not even in the same ballpark as Johnny Bench. Johnny Bench is so much better than any catcher that I've ever seen play. And I go back to the early 70s. Nobody comes remotely close to Bench defensively behind the plate. Guys that I've seen. Molina and Rodriguez are probably the closest, but they're not even in the same ballpark.
I'm with you. All right, guy. Well, thanks for the vine. If you want to grub, stop by and let me know if you're coming, and I'll have some wrapped up for you.
All right, brother. Appreciate it.
Later.
See ya. 330-886-0813. Take a time out. Be back with more. Stick around.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
This is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, why shop anywhere else but Tri-State Ford? Choose from our great selection of pre-owned vehicles. Plus, we've got you covered with our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage. It includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty with your pre-owned vehicle and much more. Come see why so many customers from the Tri-State area buy their pre-owned vehicle at Tri-State Ford.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State 40 Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
"60 years ago, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods began with 3 siblings, a hand-set sawmill, and a few local orders. And while business has certainly changed over the years, what has not are our principles of hard work, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. At Baird Brothers, we're proud to put our name on the products we create, from moldings and doors to flooring and lumber. Thank you for 60 great years. We look forward to 60 more. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
Welcome back as we close up shop on this Monday edition of Running Point. Ron Potesta with you. Hello. Okay, here are the games that we will be broadcasting on the network. A bunch of games. Keep in mind, we are continuing to do B-League games. Now, so far, the 14U B-League season has started. The Little B, that's 16U, and Big B, the 18U, has not started yet. But when those games starts, then we'll really be busy on the network. Plus, we do have 3 regular season baseball games that are going to be played today. Springfield is at Boardman. That's a 5 o'clock start. Columbiana is at Salem. This is going to be a good game. Austintown Fitch at South Range. All 3 of those games set to begin at 5 o'clock. Here's your B-League schedule. The A to Z Athletics will be taking the Prospects in 14U baseball at 5:30 at Scene Park. Creekside Fitness will be playing Ballistic at the 14U B-League game at 5:30. And at 8 o'clock, the Athletics will be playing Avalanche in 14U baseball from Bob Scene Park. I'm not sure which field it will be. And then we have another B-League game set for 8 o'clock. Not sure who's going to be playing. Not sure where which field it will be on, but we will have another game, B-League game, at 8 o'clock tonight. Here's your pay-per-view games. And again, because the OHSAA is charging us to broadcast the games, then we, in turn, have to put our $9.99 pay-per-view wall up. So here is your softball and baseball games that will be on the network via pay-per-view. Austintown Fitch is playing Chardon at Fitch High School. That starts at 4 o'clock. McDonald taking on Bristol. That game starts at 4 o'clock. Brookfield and Lisbon, that's a 5 o'clock start in softball. Also in softball, Boardman playing Hoover at 5:30 and Western Reserve taking on East Canton at 5:30. Those are the softball games that will be on the network. Okay, Palestine and Mooney for baseball has been canceled. Cardinal Mooney moves on. Palestine unable to play today. So Cardinal Mooney has moved on in the baseball tournament. So the Mooney-Palestine game is obviously not going to be played. That game will not be played. Cardinal Mooney moves on. Your baseball games, Hubbard will be playing Lakeview. Hubbard hosting Lakeview, Poland hosting Girard, and Ursuline. Actually, this is a regular season game. Hubbard and Lakeview, Poland and Girard are 2 baseball games that will be played via the pay-per-view. Ursuline and Crestview, I believe that is a regular season game that is going to be played at 7 o'clock tonight. Ursuline and Crestview, that is a 7 o'clock regular season game that will not be on the pay-per-view. You can see that game live at no charge. So those are the games that are on the network today, whether it be free or pay-per-view. That'll do it for the show. Tune in tomorrow, noon to 3, same bat time, same bat channel, ysnlive.com for a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Power Hours coming up next.